At this time, I'll call the Dixon County Commission meeting to order for October 26, 2023. Would you please stand and join in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On our agenda, we have a couple of items that we're going to add. First of all, a letter of support for an application of the Dickinson County Historical Society Group. And then also we have a 10-minute executive session at the end of the meeting for non-elected personnel discussion. And with those two additions, I'd move that we approve the amended agenda.
I'll second it.
We have the motion, we have the second for approval of the amended agenda. Any discussion or question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. The consent agenda includes the minutes of the October 19th meeting and also payroll of $492,742.86. And I believe there was a correction made on the minutes.
Yes.
So that's been noted. And is there a motion for acceptance of the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion. Second it.
The motion and the second. Do we need more clarification to that? I mean, it was just.
It was before you accepted it. It was sent out and then it was corrected before the
Okay.
today.
So the one where.
The corrected, yes, you have the corrected.
Corrected percentage or. Okay. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Commission comments. Ron?
I just want to say I'm appreciative of the little bit of moisture we're getting. That's helping a little bit. Harvest is rolling along pretty slow, but it's going. So that's all I have.
Craig?
Yeah, yesterday afternoon, or yesterday morning, I guess, 11 o'clock, went to Topeka for a KAC board meeting. They finalized the legislative proposals that we're going to be bringing to the meeting in December that be voted upon by the members. There was the 104% SCR 1611. The county decided, the commissioners decided, the body decided not to take a stand on it, be neutral on it. The feeling was there from the commissioners, especially that we need to take a position. But Jay said that the Farm Bureau and Kansas Livestock Association would probably be taking a position against it. So we'll be monitoring that and watching it because it could it won't affect the amount of money we'll get. It's just affect how the money's raised, I guess would be the way to put it. Kenny Bacchus, who was past president, is no longer going to be employed by the County of Ottawa as their county weed director. He's going to work in private industry. And then Keith Browning, I believe, is a highwayman. He may be leaving.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next meeting will be by virtual last Wednesday in November. And also the hotel has been, down in Pittsburgh has been reserved for our spring KPCA meeting.
Okay.
And we'll be getting information after the first of the year. Also, the vendors, we've had to get another hotel, other than 4. There are 5 hotels in Wichita for the KAC annual conference. That's all I have. And there was nothing on the computer.
Okay. Earlier this morning, we had our county treasurer, Leah Hearn, in here. She just went ahead and gave us an update report on some of the taxes. There is about 1.5% delinquency, which is similar to what it is in other years. Doesn't mean it won't be collected. It just hasn't been collected at this particular point. And then also earlier in the week, we had a meeting. Janelle was there. I happened to attend. We had city officials. Senator J.R. Clays was here. And there's just some grant opportunities and applications that we need to make. And there's quite a few, like any application, quite a few hoops to go through. but also there's some things that the legislature needs to address to make it where it's going to apply in a fair manner to cities, counties, municipalities. And so anyway, we had a good discussion down here in regards to that. And I appreciated Senator Clays being here because, and actually, I think Julie Roller had made one of the first applications and or looked into it and saw there were a couple of changes that needed to take place in the process legislatively. And Senator Clays mentioned, he said, you know, here, Dixon County, Abilene, you guys are kind of on the tip of the spear as far as recognizing that there needed to be some clarifications in the wording. So, anyway, and Janelle lined up the meeting down here, so I was pleased for that. Also, we had Martin Tannehill in, and we looked and had a discussion as far as some of the bridges and roads and funding mechanisms we have in place for that. So that's all I have. This would be opportunity for petitions, proclamations, and public comments. We will have public comments if anyone has a question, but we also have on the agenda here, Don Hammett is here. So it's great to see you again, but I know there's always a lot going on at the Eisenhower Presidential Library and Museum and Boyhood Home.
Thank you for letting me speak to you this morning. I just wanted to let you know that we have finished our fiscal year. The federal government, as you know, is October through September, so our fiscal year is finished. I wanted to give you a report on perhaps what I'm calling a recovery year. And we just edited our visitation numbers, and it looks like we've gotten just approximately 100,000 guests this year, all in, all of our programming, all of our students, everybody, all of it, about 100,000. And that number puts us almost exactly where we were for museum sales only prior to us closing the museum for the renovation. So it was a really big year for us. We're not quite back yet. But that's a big number for me, for us, and I'm really excited about it. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that because of our staffing levels, which I know is everybody's challenge right now, we have the museum open for 6 days a week. The museum is closed on Mondays. I have 4 positions that I need to fill, and as soon as those are filled and those employees are independent, we can start expanding our hours. The research room is open 5 days a week. And this fiscal year, we had nearly 200 researchers in the research room, and they stayed an average of 3 days with us. They were international. And if you do the math, and I did not, someone else did, that's 500 days of on-site research from all of these people and the amount of days that they stayed with us. So that's not pre-pandemic numbers, but that's a great number in a recovery year for us. We served them 5 million pages in the research room for them to use. And then the other thing I wanted to let you know about was the fountain. You know that we identified some funding through the Community Foundation and the Eisenhower Foundation to repair the fountain. And like anything else, as soon as they started digging, they found some other things. We've all been there. So the fountain is under repair. It will be finished probably just in time for us to shut it off for the winter. So that's a wrap up of our fiscal year. Do you have any questions for me? I'd love to.
Some of the international or researchers, are these people writing books, or their doctorate, or are we getting some interesting people coming through here?
Great question. We have a lot of our internationals are students working on PhDs. Last week there was a student from China with us. Several months ago we had a student from Hungary, and this student came here to learn about his government during the Eisenhower administration, because he does not have access to his government records like we do. So he came here to access his government's records, and through our government's records. And while he was here, he took a lot of scans of other Hungarian records for another researcher back in Hungary. And he really commented a lot about our access to our government's records through the presidential libraries and the National Archives. So that's something to be really thoughtful about, that we have this access.
are there very many additional records that are becoming declassified? So getting a first look at or anything
We actually,
unusual there?
so our classified materials were removed to Washington DC for the National Declassification Center. We actually don't have that much compared to other places. So as soon as this is declassified through the National Declass Center, they'll be sending it back to us. So we don't have a big bulk expected. JFK just did a bulk declass. And so I believe that President Bush might be the next bulk declass. We don't have that much left.
Okay, and I guess kind of one last question, not directly related, but for a while you were working also in California at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. Now, has that part changed or is it?
Yes, we hired a director of the Nixon Library. She was the former California State Archivist. So she's a great hire for the Nixon Library. I'm really excited. I'm mentoring her, but I don't have to go anymore.
I said that was going to be the last question, but.
But you thought of something else.
Well, just for clarification, because sometimes I'm sure you or your staff and sometimes the county or the city get calls and say, you know, for example, why don't you, do something as far as hours or so on. And actually, that's not something you directly make the call on. You have the guidelines nationally.
Hours?
Well, I mean, just on policies and so on.
That's a complicated question. So some of the decisions can be made locally. So for hours of operation, we know that some of us aren't fully staffed yet. So this is one of my concerns here, not being fully staffed. So that decision can be made locally because of local resources. Some of our bigger policies do come from Washington, D.C.
And that group is, I mean, just for the benefit of people that aren't always familiar with.
So we're under the National Archives and Records Administration. It's an independent agency under the executive branch, and we have a brand new archivist of the United States, and she is our first female archivist of the United States. She is absolutely amazing and absolutely believes in the presidential library system. So I'm very optimistic about our future. I'm really looking forward to some new things.
Ron and Craig?
No, just one last question.
Should have done it.
Thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you for being here today. Okay, there would be opportunity for if there's anyone here or if there's anyone online that has a comment or question, this would be your opportunity to do so. If you're here, you'd need to step to the podium and give your name and address and what your concern is. And if it's online, if you'll signal us online here, we could receive a comment or question. We do not have any comments or questions, and so we're going to go ahead and move on to the next item. This would be report of county officers and County Administrator Janelle Dockendorf, you're up.
Commissioners, Martin has advised that the bridge, knock on wood, 1145 First Road is still on schedule, so that's a good thing. The final pier point was poured on the west side, so they're moving along with that. Also, you've seen our mowers out and about, and they're doing the final mow outs. They were on Old 40 yesterday, and this is actually 2 passes along the ditches there, so we're getting that taken care of. The school flu clinics are wrapping up this week. They were in Chapman and Hope, so that should be done. And then EMS will also be holding their annual food drive in Harrington on the 28th. And like Dawn just said, we also have open positions in the county, so you can check the county's website, but we do have a couple in dispatch, in the county attorney's office, the highway department, there's one, EMS has one open position, 2 in the sheriff's office with a potential position being filled, and then 1 in the health department and environmental services and administration. So we're trying to get those filled, which is a good thing. So, but it's a challenge at times.
Do you want to mention also, we're going to be going on a kind of a road tour this
We
afternoon?
will be doing that. This is an annual road tour that we have been doing for the past, I don't know, 10 years or so. And the county commission, along with Martin Tannehill, our road and bridge supervisor, and Chad McCullough, our county engineer, and Marcus and I will be going along, and we'll look at different projects that are going on in the county. We will also take some time and visit the Early Childhood Learning Center there in Harrington. We'd seen the one in Solomon, so we'll look at upcoming projects and projects that are ongoing. So it's a way for us to get out and take a look at the county together. I know you commissioners also review as you're coming in and looking at different projects as well when you're coming into meetings and that, and as you're going out and about around the county as well.
Okay. And there's kind of a grading system of the roads and bridges. And so this gives us an opportunity, as Martin, for example, would kind of say, this is what's going on this bridge. We're actually visually looking at it also. But having said that, he continually does.
It's always fluid depending on what happens and funding. So.
But as far as inspections and so on, I mean, there's some detailed records and photographs of how things were a year ago and 5 years ago and so on the bridges. So.
Right.
Okay. Next, our county councilor, Doug Thompson.
I have nothing to report at this time. Thank you.
Okay. And you will be around for the executive session
Yes.
here at the end. Okay.
And I think Jeannie has a quick report on advanced voting as well.
Oh, sure.
Okay, advanced voting started October 18th. We have sent out 111 permanent advance. We sent out 34 regular advance, and we have had 104 early voters, and we have had 21 advanced ballots returned.
Okay.
That ends November 6th at noon, and then the election will be November 7th. The polls will be open from 7 to 7. They can come into the courthouse and vote 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
And then the poll workers and so on, you have some that re-sign and
Right.
but there's a training, all that's
Yep.
all ready to go and.
Right.
Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on under notices and communications. We've received some information from Capers by mail, and it's just to inform us, they're pleased to inform us that the Capers deferred compensation plan joinder agreement resolution was submitted and has been approved by the state of Kansas. We also had information for our review on the Keystone Pipeline. We also have information, I guess, regarding some of the juvenile detention center that's located at Junction City that we're part of Ron, you're on that board.
Yes.
And just continuing information on that. I believe that's all we have. Was there anything else that anyone would want to bring up? Okay, so the next item we have is a resolution, and this is in support of the Operation Green Light and for veterans. And so would you go ahead and give the summary on that?
So this is a resolution that we have done. This will be the second year, and NACO has put together a template that we followed last year, and it's in support of our veterans. So we have great respect, admiration, and the utmost gratitude for the men and women who have served our country in this community in the armed forces. We're designating a green light in recognition of our veterans, and we're declaring from October 26th through Veterans Day, which is November 11th, 2023. It's a time to salute and honor the service and sacrifices of our men and women in uniform, and they're transitioning from active service. So we're asking that you would approve Resolution 26, 23 in honor of our veterans. And then the courthouse will be lit up green during that time in recognition of their service.
Okay, is there a motion for that resolution?
So move.
I'll second it.
We have the motion and the second. This is for resolution 102623, supporting Operation Greenlight for veterans. This will be from October 26th through November 11th, which covers Veterans Day. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And this will need signatures. We do not have any unfinished business. We've added to the agenda a support letter for the Dickinson County Historical Society. So would you want to cover that, Janelle?
Commissioners, I was contacted by Austin Anders, the director for the Dickinson County Historical Society, and they are applying to T-Mobile through their hometown grant application. And they've asked for a letter of support for building expansion is the plan that they would use the funds for, also to improve the outdoor space. So I've drafted a letter that shows support for this. We understand that the Historical Society works closely with the other sites or attractions in Abilene and in the county. And last year they had over 6,000 visitors that came through. They have a lot of programs that they're working with. They work with the other historical societies in the county, and they're asking for our support for the grant application.
I'd go ahead and move that we do send this support letter out on behalf of Dickinson County Historic
Second.
Society. We have the motion and second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item we have is we have another letter of support.
Commissioners, last week you spoke with Matthew Muir with the Coalition Against Bigger Trucks, and he's asking for support to our federal representatives, Senator Moran, Senator Marshall, and Representative Mann, and ask that we request that they consider opposing any legislation or amendments that seek to increase the weight of semi-trucks along our roadways. So I believe the 80,000 pounds is the cap, and part of the bill that is being considered is to increase that to 91,000. And that also puts a lot of stress on our roads, but first and foremost is the safety of our drivers. So they're asking for our support in opposing this legislation. So.
And as you said, this will go to the national level. So that's why Senator Moran and Senator Marshall,
Yes.
Congressman Mann will receive these letters from us. Any discussion? Is there a motion to approve sending that letter of support?
I'll make a motion to do so.
Second.
We have the motion and second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We do not have anything else to discuss as far as our regular part of the meeting at this time. We have added to the agenda an executive session for 10 minutes. I would move that we begin the executive session at 11:25. And the purpose is to discuss non-elected personnel and would include the commission and Janelle and our attorney, Doug Thompson.
I'll second that.
We have the motion and the second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. So we'll go into executive session here in just another minute. It's 11:35. I would make a motion that we return to regular session.
I'll second it.
We have the motion and second to return to regular session from executive session. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We're in regular session now. We had a discussion on information on non-elected personnel. There's no further action to be taken. We have nothing else left on the agenda. As mentioned earlier, we do have a road trip per se planned for the county commissioners and staff, and to look at some roads throughout the county and bridges, and also the child care center.
Correct.
So that's what we'll be doing after this meeting shortly.
I will adjourn.
I'll second it.
We have the motion and second to adjourn. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We're adjourned.